Hello everybody and welcome back to Tlatoani, where we are currently working on getting a lot of this stuff finished up here. We've still got 9 years to complete these objectives. I'm assuming that there's going to be more objectives most likely, but we do definitely need to be moving some resources up over this way and getting the Royal Palace finished. Now, a lot of our resources are currently being utilized down here, and we've got a bit of a worker problem down here, and I don't really know why. So at this point, we're lacking, well, this is understandable. We're lacking artwork for this. But for like the stone quarry out over here and over here, we're lacking workers out over here. These are common workers, but if we look in these places, we can see there just aren't many commoners down over here. So I think the issue is, this home needs access to more nutrition. That's probably the issue. Most likely, is my guess. So this is, I think, a diet variety issue, or it's just these farms still not enough. That might be the case as well. So we can start developing some additional farmage up over this way. We had already talked about coming up over here, and this is absolutely something that I do want to do. So we can slap a farmer's home in right here, and that should be absolutely fine. And then we can put in a fruit tree, just one right there, and then a couple of fruit trees here. That's 3. This would be 4 fruit trees. And then we can put in some chili beds here. So that was 3 chili beds. So we're gonna need to put in some maize up here, right? That's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and 16, and then we can do fruit trees over here. So 1, 2, 3, and then I believe we need like 1 more fruit tree, and we can fill out the rest of this with chili beds, something kind of like that. And then up here there's just a little bit of empty space. Okay, so that's a very awkward farm setup, but I think getting more food coming in is absolutely a necessity at this juncture. So that seems fine. I'm pretty sure that's what the issue here is. We need access to maize, yeah. So this is almost certainly the issue, is we're just not generating enough food. Now, we previously were importing maize, and we may want to go back to that. That may be an option. We're barely floating by right now on our maize, so that's absolutely understood. We can develop this area up over here. This is pretty undeveloped right now, and that's probably not a terrible concept. We could take a road out over this way, although we can't build the road with that hunter's hut right there, so that seems fine. We can just take a road out like this, and then we'll start developing out over here if we feel like we need to after this farm goes up. For now, of course, I'm still very, very interested in getting this temple finished. That's a ways away yet. So that's understood. We're at 310 out of 310. I don't think that's true, to be honest. We've got all of this down here that does not have workers in it. Yet this is claiming that our employment demands are being met. I really don't think that's true. I really, really don't. Pretty sure we're being lied to. And now we're going down over here. So I'm pretty sure this is a food issue. So to that end, we can come over here. We could drop down our salt import and do a small maize import. Because yeah, poor nutrition is becoming a problem, and I think that's what we're running into. So getting more of this going over here would be very, very good for us, that's for sure. We definitely want to get more farms up and running. So, to that end, I'm definitely thinking about... I want to have a little bit of forestry over here still, because we do have a Sawyer up here. This could be converted into farmland up over here. So, to that end, we can put in a farmer's hut right here. And then, where would this be reaching? This would be reaching, like, here? which does have access to fruit. I'm thinking maybe a porter yard right here as well. So a porter yard right up over, it doesn't quite fit there. We could do a porter stop. So that would be similar to this porter stop, which brings in stone and timber. And at this point, we maybe could change that, but I'm going to leave that be, I think. And we'll have this porter stop then be about maize and fruit. And it'll be set to just accept. And then this one, I'm going to drop the timber over here, and we're going to swap this over to being chili, and it'll just be accepts. Okay, that should be fine for now. So to that end, I want to get additional maize in over here. So we're just going to do something like this. So that's going to take us up to 11, that's 15, and that's 16 right there. Then we can do fruit trees. So this is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then like 8 up here. And then the rest of this area, in theory, would be chili beds. Let's see, what are we at? We're at 30. So this area is all full of farmland here. We can't put it in over here, can we? No, we cannot do that. So we would have to put it in like over here, which is probably fine. I don't love that though. I really don't love that. We could put it in here, actually. That's too close to a structure that requires clearance still. We could put it in here. That's kind of awful, but this could be a little bit of an overflow area, I suppose. Sure. So I'm pretty sure our issue is food related. I'm 99% sure at this point. So we're definitely getting some additional farms online over here. These farms recently came online, and we might be able to squeeze in one more out over here. Actually, I don't know that this is going to have great fertility over here. But for the moment, I mean, some fertility is probably better than nothing. So let's just go ahead and do this for now. And then I'm going to do maize. Potentially up over here even. So it can reach up to here. So we can just fill this up with maize. That's 16 maize. Okay. And then I don't know that I actually want to have this be maize though. Again, I'm concerned about the fertility up here, but so that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then the rest of this up here can be chili beds. Like that. So that puts us at 16, and then the rest of this would be maize, which could go down here, theoretically. Like that. Okay. Then what we can do is we can take a road. I don't know about this. Well, we could take a road up this way. Have it cross up like this, and then come down like that. To be able to utilize more of this space. And then there's this out over here, of course. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like that's pretty awkward. So there is that. So we're currently lacking... this is heavy service here, but we're lacking a worker there. So you can see here, we're down to 291 at this point of the common people. So I'm pretty sure that this is absolutely an issue with food production. Hopefully the fact that we're importing some maize will help that. But what we really need to do is kickstart domestic production of the stuff. So for now, I'm thinking that this area here will be a bit of a forestry preserve. So we'll put a road in like that. So this is going to be a forestry area, and then this will be cleared out, and then this area down here is probably going to be devoted almost exclusively to farmland. We do have a Sawyer over here, I think. Yeah, right there. So that's understood. But most of this area is going to become farmland. Okay, so now we can put in another farmhouse over here, although this is not going to be connected to this up this way. So I'm thinking about actually putting in the farmer's hut here. And then we would do some maize out over this way. So this would be something kind of like that. And then up here, so that's 15, and then this would be 16. We can then put in 2 fruit trees, 1 and 2, and then this would be 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. And then we'd put in some chili beds up over here. Like that. These are awkward farms, no doubt about it, but I definitely do want to get this going. So we need to have some amount of food production there. I'm 95% certain that that's our problem right now. Is we just require additional food production. So we can continue to work on this area up over here, and I want this to hopefully be a little bit more standardized of farms. That would be ideal. So we can put in our maize field about here. That's 16 as it is. Okay. And then the fruit trees would go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Okay. And then the chili beds would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. Like that. Okay, and then this road is coming down here and then would come out over here and would go something like this. Of course, it won't actually connect up over here, but that's okay. So we'll get that farm going. It'll be able to reach this porter stop, of course. But yeah, I'm 99% certain that the reason we're having some issues here is food related. So that's what we're working on. We're also, of course, still funneling a lot of resources into our temple and our royal palace, which are making progress. So that looks good. But I think more food production, I think this is the fundamental issue that we've got here. So that should be relatively a-okay. This is swamp down over here, and this is barrens. Right. I'm just very concerned about, well, this, for one thing. This guy's just chilling out here fighting us? Stopping our trade? I'm going to send one captain out over here to go clean this up. Because they're just chilling here, killing our people that are up here. Honestly, that might be why we're losing people, not, in fact, food related. I'm betting this is the issue. So we're going to have people showing up here to clear this out eventually. Food is still an issue. I'm quite certain about that. So that'll be good. And actually, we might want to have this be set to get instead of balance. So set to get, they can receive deliveries from other storage venues over any distance, so long as that venue is set to accept or balance, which we're set to balance, so that'll be fine. I'm assuming that this farmhouse reaches over here. Yes. This farmhouse over here should be reached by this porter yard, but this porter yard doesn't actually do maize fruit chili. This porter yard does, but it does some of it anyway, but it doesn't quite reach up over to here. So this is actually a bit of a problem. So maize fruit and chili here would be fine, but we'd want to move this on. This can actually be set to accepts. And we could ditch the pottery here for the moment and have this be on chili. Okay, that seems fine for right now. Cool. So we definitely have a bit of a problem with our jobs, right? So these guys are out over here right now, and this is looking good. I just want to make sure we're cleared out here. Okay. Eventually our guys will get up here. I don't know where they are, though. I'm surprised that they're taking this long to get here. Everybody get out here. I want to clear these out. They're causing us significant problems. Anybody who can, get out here. I don't see anybody on their way out. Maybe this guy's on his way out. No, he's going to drill at the Hunter Lodge. Okay. For some reason, hang on a moment. I think this is the issue right here. I think this chili bed is actually blocking this. Let's take that chili bed out. Because, yeah, these guys are a big issue for us right now. So let's take this chili bed out. Let's replace the chili bed up over here. Ideally. As soon as that gets taken out anyway. But I think that's what's blocking us right now. No, people are going through that. Okay. Well, the chili bed is removed. And now can we deploy up over here? The answer is no. But maybe they're close enough to aggro us from the walls. For some reason, our guys are refusing to come out here now. But at least they are told to go on the walls, so that's something. We successfully dispatched military, but we did not send our tribute. That's fine. I don't care about the tribute. I keep hoping that these guys will wander close enough. But it keeps not happening. And yeah, they're just absolutely slaughtering people out over there. I think that's our core issue, is that people coming up, or people coming in over here are having issues. So this captain here is, I think he got close enough to be attacked. Hang on. Now they're able to come out. Okay, cool. So I think it was the chili bed then. So yeah, come on out here, drive them out of here. That'll be good. We do not want them to remain there. We gotta get them out of here. So up we go, and hopefully this guy will end up being dead soon. That would be ideal. I think he is maybe dead now. And then we've got this one is dead. Okay, perfect. So let's go ahead and disband our formation then, and that should solve a significant part of our problem. Let's see how we're doing on food. Okay, we've still got a teeny tiny amount of food in there. So down over here, we're still waiting on people to come in. That's fine. I'm not too concerned about that right now. We are going to want to have more farms probably in this area and maybe down here as well. There are some definite locations we can do that. We can also have a kind of awkwardly shaped farm about here. So that's something that we can do. Of course, we still need to get our enclosure done here. This wall up over here, no one cares to make that, it seems. But hopefully that will change when we're no longer funneling all of this stone into our royal palace and temple. That's the dream, anyway. So we'll see if that ends up being the case or not. But more of our noble compounds will need to upgrade. For this, honestly, we just need a job. Same here. We're not making much progress down over this way. We'll get there eventually. And then our noble compounds up over here needs maize and needs maize. So, yeah. We'll get there. We're definitely producing more maize than ever before at this point. So that is good. So this is accepting chili, accepting maize and fruit. So this should be absolutely fine down here. We're definitely producing additional farm materials. Words are hard, apparently. But we're producing additional farm materials, and that's looking good. Now, down over here, we're just waiting for people to move in, and I'm 99% certain that this was caused by them just killing everybody who was trying to run on this road. I think that's the issue. Food is also an issue, to be clear. We need more food, and we're working on that. So this farm is coming online. That's looking good. And this farm down over here will eventually come online. It needs access to more religion. It'll have this temple here once the temple finally finishes. So I'm not too concerned about that one. What we need more than anything, though, is to just get these farms online and absolutely be working on that. So this is going to this porter yard. Yeah, that should be fine. So more diversion out over here. Yeah, this will be more housing as well. So we'll be able to get some of these jobs done in theory. We hope. Some of these jobs out over here have started to get filled. So I'm pretty sure that it was, in fact, the blockade that was going on up here. I really do want to see this wall get finished up. That would be very, very ideal, very useful. Alas, nobody's working on it. And I'll be honest, I don't entirely know why, but I think the reason is because we aren't getting stone up here in this porter yard. I think that's the reason. So once we get to the point where we're no longer constructing the temple and no longer constructing the royal palace, I think at that point we'll be in a good position to get this wall finished up. That's the theory, anyway. We'll see if that ends up being true, but that is indeed the theory. So things are looking pretty okay. We're growing our number of commoners at this point. That's a good sign. We do need to have possibly more food production, although I do see we have a little bit of food in our granary. A little bit of food. This market out over here, yeah, that's fine. And then we've got this market here, which is actually not quite reaching this small cottage up here because of this. So we don't actually... No, we do have access to a market, although it is distant access. That's fine. For the moment, I'm okay with that. Once again, this sentry post isn't building. I believe this is because stone isn't flowing down here. So I think that'll change once we get to the point where we're no longer funneling stone into our palace and our temple. That's the theory, anyway. So we're definitely making some progress on both of those, but that's going to be a little while yet. But it is about time to put a cut in here, so I'm going to go ahead and do that. And next episode, we are likely going to continue work on developing farmland out in this area. I believe that we do still indeed need more farming, so we'll see how that ends up going. You can leave your offerings to the engagement gods in the form of likes, comments, subscribes, and bell ringings, and a very special thank you to all of the channel members for making this video possible, including ALS Gamer, Dark Horse, Ethan Feldman, Upper Cumberland Gamers, Nick Smarty, Dimitri H, Punching the Microphone, The Lounge STL, and all the rest. And of course, you. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to support the channel, you can click the join button down below the video, and as always, I will see you all next time.